So tomorrow night, the LR Blue Fusions finally are getting their EZA on the JP version. And a lot of people have actually asked me, hey, what are the best hidden potential and equipment builds for the LR Blue Fusions now that they're actually getting their EZAs? And that's understandable. A lot of things do, I feel like, update with these units in terms of their EZAs. Like they get a bunch of different abilities like evasion, for example, right? So a lot of people are interested to see, hey, how can I build these units to maximize their potential? And we're going to be discussing that today. I'll be showing you my builds and other builds that people in the community do also have, just to give you guys a few examples of what exactly to do. And again, these guys do drop tomorrow night, the 24th at 12 a.m. Pacific time. You see right here. If you go to dokkaninfo.com/schedule, you'll be able to see the exact time zone for yourself. But by the time this video goes up, it'll be about like a day, 11 to 10 hours or so. Very exciting regardless. So let's hop right into it. First, we're going to be talking about Vegito here, and I guess Gogeta in terms of their base forms, since they're pretty much the same. I would not build these guys with their base forms in mind, really. I feel like you definitely want to maximize to what their Super Saiyan Blue forms are going to be. But if we're going to talk about their base forms here, I feel Crit is a solid idea because they have the built-in additionals already that have a great chance to become a super attack here, and they don't really have any crit in here. That's if you're thinking about their base forms a little more, you know, you could think of, okay, maybe crit could be potentially interesting to maximize the first 3 turns. But that's pretty much it. We're going to be talking about, again, specifically the Super Saiyan Blue portions, because I feel like that's what you really want to focus on. So honestly, just kind of ignore what I said previously in terms of the crit. Kind of. Right, for the Gogeta portion especially. We'll get to that in a bit. But if we take a look here at Vegito, again, he has a guaranteed evasion for the first turn after transformation. He does a bunch of additionals here. He has a guaranteed additional super attack here. He has this 30% chance of launching an additional super attack as well. Given both of those, you would have to be in the first or second slot. Again, this could actually proc off of any attack he does. I did a video specially covering this yesterday. If you want to check it out, feel free to do so while I go more in depth of how this works. But let's say, for instance, you have 3 super attacks here. When you hit the 24 key meter, or if you're using the active skill, he does again do another additional guaranteed super attack on top of that. And especially if you use the active skill in the 3rd slot right here, you do get it's funny to think about it, another additional super attack. So if we're counting all of them, you could do 1, 2, 3, 4 super attacks right here in his passive, a 5th one via the hidden potential system, and then this right here, his active skill itself. So there are a ton of opportunities for this Vegito to be getting super attacks off. So, in my opinion, you want to go a lot of crit on this Vegito specifically. So, he doesn't have any, like, crit or super effective against all types in his passive whatsoever. And since he does so many additionals, any of the additionals he does here, his hidden potential system can proc off of that. So you don't really need to put as much as additional into this guy as, you know, you feel like is really needed, especially concerning his pre-EZA transformation, right? He only got the 1 additional guaranteed super attack. If you use the active skill, he could do 4 attacks in the turn, essentially, right? Or 5, actually, I think. But now it's a little different here. He gets so much more extra attacks. He gets literally 2 extra potential attacks just every single turn pretty much. So the additionals, you don't have to go as high as before. And going all out on crit in this guy will mean that you are able to really shred through the boss. As a tech unit, this guy can get really high crits, right? I mean, you can get 30 crit even with this guy, 32 crit even, given the equips you have. So I think crit is a very good, strong way to go with this guy. If you see my build specifically here, this is what I went with. I went with 6 additional, 27 crit, and 3 dodge. I feel like if you want to take some crit away and put it in additional, that's fine. But I wouldn't go any higher additional than 9 probably. And you want to really get as much crit as you possibly can. I personally love putting 3 dodge in all my units. I just think 3 dodge is amazing. Even though this unit necessarily doesn't need 3 dodge as much as others, you never know when it could potentially come in handy. But if you're not really a 3 dodge fan, I would honestly just put it into the additional or the crit. In this situation, it would go into the crit based on where the actual attack is specifically, I think this would be right here if I'm not mistaken. But you could do either one of those things. For equipment, I think full offense is a really good idea right now, since his defense is usually going to be more than enough to tank even like some of these mega big boss super attacks. And with the amount of attacks he does with the guaranteed dodge in the first turn, like you're probably going to have the enemy like killed by the time he even comes back. And maybe you could even use the active skill in turn 3, get the 70% chance to dodge in the next turn, right? At least the third turn that he's going to appear. And if not kill, you'll have the chance to dodge even in slot 1. So I feel like going dodge right now probably isn't really like, you know, the best idea necessarily. However, I feel in the future, in terms of like future proofing this guy, if you want to go dodge, that is not a bad idea. Maybe like, again, let's say like in a 2 years from now or something, where his damage and his defenses aren't really up to snuff anymore. We know the game's gonna last till the 10th anniversary, so saying 2 years is very plausible actually. And then what'll happen is you just run this guy as a floating unit with the great chance to dodge as a third attacker. Then you'll have the additional dodge chance here. His role at that point wouldn't be to do damage, it'd be to dodge and be a very strong floating unit, which is I really like about this unit's design. So at that point you could change these into like some evasion defensive equips, but right now I think this is a really good build for him. Again, I'm still considering upping the additional a little just because it'd be nice, but I think 6 or 9 additional is probably the best, and you go mostly crit here in my personal opinion. Now, talking about Gogeta Blue, it's a little different because Gogeta Blue actually already has built-in crit and super effective, right? If you see here, but that can't speak. If you see here, he does the 2 additional attacks, each of which have a medium chance to become a super attack. He's super effective at all times, given he's in the first and second slot. Then if you're at 24 key or using the active skill, he does guarantee crits. So I feel like going crit with this guy, you definitely don't want to do. And unfortunately, you know, going crit with this guy, like going as much as additionals with this guy won't be as high as if you crit for Vegito Blue. The reason why is because they're tech and STR. So this guy is going to naturally have a lot of crit built into him, unfortunately. And I feel like you don't really want to go dodge with this unit. The crit will still be helpful for his base form, but I think additionals very, very much so is the way you want to go here. Now, I do have a defense equip on this guy over the offensive equip. The reason why is because I feel like Vegito's defense usually is going to be more than strong enough to handle these bosses, so offense could be a really good idea. Whilst I do think offense is a really good idea with this Gogeta Blue, there is less consistency with him building up his defense on the 12 key super attacks, because he has the 2 extra attacks right here, but they only have the 30% chance to become a super attack, whilst Vegito has the 2 extra additional guaranteed supers, so that's at least 100% extra defense that Vegito would usually get much more consistently than Gogeta Blue. And then he also has his own hidden potential system. He has the 30% chance here as well that could proc. Like, this Vegito, a lot of the times will be better defensively. Even looking at the defensive stat, 117k versus the 111k, that does matter a little bit, especially for a unit that'll just be doing a bajillion super attacks, greatly raising his defense, right? That's the only thing I'd say with the Gogeta. So getting the extra defense from here could be very helpful. It will also allow him to do much more offensive power because he is, again, super effective or guaranteed critting during the turn. So additionals is definitely the way to go. Keep in mind the active skill could also proc the additional super. So the active skill alone could proc this attack right here, and you're good to go for sure. So if there's one thing I'd change, probably this equip right here. I gave him this equip like years ago, and I don't feel like changing it, but I think you want to go like, you know, 5 additional so with this guy. Give this guy like your best additional equip. And then talking about evasion here, same thing with Vegito. I think evasion could be good in terms of like if this guy's 2 years from now or something, but right now I don't think you would like to focus on evasion for him. I would say one extra thing about Vegito as well, you could probably go a lot of additionals into this guy to make sure he gets his other super attack. Whilst Gogeta, you don't want to go and crit at all. I feel like crit in Gogeta is definitely a mistake, because you don't really care about his base form. His base form is just there to power up the blue form, and the blue form is where you're going to really destroy everything. So that's pretty much my idea there. But we could take a look at, let's see what kind of builds everyone else is using, and then we'll kind of end the video from there. So let's see, full link level 10. Yeah, again, this is the build I'm talking about. I think this is probably the best build in terms of Vegito Blue's offense. I'm just a 3 dodge user, but 6 additional 30 crit is really, really good here. You see these EX equipped skill orbs. Those are actually given out during the worldwide celebration. If you have them, Vegito is definitely the best character to put on these for sure. And this is a really good build for Gogeta too. 25 crit, 25 additional 11 crit, and then no dodge. Again, this is very similar to mine, except I do have the 3 dodge in mine. And he has some extra additionals because he gave these equips. I'm considering changing it to give him these equips and even the offensive equip. We'll see what happens, but I think either one of those builds are fine. Okay, so this build specifically goes more into a little more dodge aspect, right? You see there is the same 25 additional, but no crit. I feel like the crit is definitely not needed. And then the 9 dodge could definitely help you out in situations where, let's say, you're on the turn after the guaranteed dodge, but you can't get the active skill. So having this 9 dodge could be particularly helpful if a super attack is targeted at this Gogeta. And then, same with this Vegito, 9 additional 19 crit and then 5 dodge. Wanted to get a good crit equip from Vegito. Yeah, if you get like a 5 crit equip on here, then you go to 24 crit. That's really, really good. But obviously, I think like 19 crit alone, you definitely want a little more for sure. Alright, let's see. Haven't awakened VB yet. 9 crit, 5 additional. But this is like a 69% Vegito. I think that it's also good to take a look there as well. I know a lot of people don't really have like dupes in them. So if you're, let's say your Vegito is at this level in the dupe system, right? I still think you want to maximize the crit. The additional could be nice, but maximizing the crit and damage potential I have probably would be better at a lower dupe system level. Though I understand wanting to go the additional. Again, 3 dodge is nice to see. I think 3 dodge is always good. Gogeta, I would do the opposite. Again, as much additional as you can. But I know that, yeah, one of these two, you should be able to switch to additional. I think you definitely want to change this 11 crit to 9 additional. That'll be very, very important in terms of a 69% build, right? Okay, let's see what else we have here. 90% build, again, very similar. 14 additional, 22 crit. I think that's fine. But I would probably move this a little more, like, you know, make it 11 additional and 25 crit. That's probably a better build overall. This is cool too as well. I think this is a really good build in terms of the additionals and crit, especially if you don't like going dodge. Don't have to adjust, but you like adjust both of these slightly to have the busted worldwide celebration equips. Yeah, I agree. That'll be very good. Let's take a look at this last one. I think we'll kind of finish things off here. I like this build a lot. Again, the 3 dodge. I feel like going dodge over crit and Gogeta is probably a better idea. So even if you want to go like 6 dodge into Gogeta, that probably would work out very, very well. And then right here, a 3 additional, 28 crit, and 3 dodge. I feel I would go a little more additional. Again, like at least 6 or 9 additional is what you want for sure. 3 additional might be a little too low. Even with all the attacks you're doing, like having a 5% chance to proc it, I feel like is a little low compared to if you're, well, 6%. Compared to if you're like 6 additional, you have a 12% chance to proc on each of these attacks, right? That's just a huge difference. And even if you're, especially like a 9 additional, you have 18% chance, right? It really does matter having a little more additional, because I feel like 6% chance to proc that will be a little low. But I mean, if it works for you, it'll work out for sure. I think crit at the very least you want to base off of. So that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think, what you guys will build the Blue Fusion EZAs as. Again, I will be doing videos about them. I'm thinking about, like, I already have like 15 plus video ideas in mind that I want to do. So be on the lookout for that. I know a lot of you are very excited for these EZAs, and I personally am as well. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.